Okay, so last week we read in Shabbat, over Shabbos, we read the song at the sea. And I just wanted to share some knowledge from that song to our lives today. So if you Zeh Keli Ve'anvehu, page 81, 4 lines down, like in the song itself. Zeh Keli Ve'anvehu. This is my God, Ve'anvehu. So when you're making Hashem your God, you have to do something to affect that. You have to do Anvehu. And the question is, what does Anvehu mean? So if Rabbi Sachs translated it as, I will beautify him. Where did he get that from? The Gemara says that, and the language is na'eh. Anvehu is from the language of na'eh. Make God, beautify God. So the Gemara brings examples how you can beautify God. The Gemara says you can do it through a nice Sefer Torah, through nice tzitzis, tefillin, a nice shofar. The basic idea behind this is that many of us have certain things that we're very particular with and that we're willing to spend a lot of money on. Let's say you throw a party. You're going to get nice centerpieces. You're going to make sure you get all the good party, get all kinds of things that you get for that endeavor. We should apply that same energy into beautifying Hashem, making our service of God very beautiful. So you can have very basic shofar. You can have a nicer shofar. You can have a good Chanukiah. You can have a very nice Chanukiah. We want to do a lot, invest in those areas, similar to what we do in other areas to beautify Hashem. So a few other examples could, mezuzahs. You can have a certain grade mezuzah, or you can get nicer. A little bit extra money, you can get a nicer mezuzah. Each thing we do in a better way, really beautifying God. And if we're willing to do this in other areas, people have designer clothing, the top-of-line furniture, we should do it for serving Hashem as well. Put in extra energy, extra intention. That's the idea of beautifying Hashem. So that you do it, that's us towards the external world. There are 2 other interpretations to Va'anvehu. That same Gemara, Abba Shaul says, what is Va'anvehu? Rashi explains, it's Ani Vahu, me and him, me and God. The Gemara says, be like God. What does that mean? Just like God's sensitive, God's kind, God does Gimilu Chasadim, Bikur Cholim, all those things that God does, we should mimic that in our lives. That's a little bit different, not just towards the outside, but it's about ourselves, how we live our spiritual lives. And I was thinking about this, how can we do this? Be like God. What does that mean? So one way is to take on a God's perspective. When you have, many times we are less forgiving with people who are not our family members than those who are our family. Maybe it's not, sometimes it's the opposite really, but whatever, because of personal issues, whatever. But like our children or whatever, like they do something wrong, we're willing to forgive them and stuff. So Hashem looks at us that way, as Hashem's children. So if we can see things through a godly eye, we can be more forgiving. Hashem looks at all of us with mercy and rachamim and kindness. Hashem loves us. If we can adopt that mentality, we can be a little bit more like Hashem. So that's another way to understand that. Ani vahu. That's not just the outside, it's talking about ourselves. There's one more interpretation that I want to bring to your attention. That's Rav Hirsch says, he says, va'anvehu means not just those interpretations, but rather naveh, which is a home. Zeh Keli, this is my God, and I will make a home for you. I will bring you in my home. So it's not about ourselves, it's not about the outside world. It's about bringing Hashem into our home, make our home filled with Hashem. And there's a lot to talk about when it comes to this, but here's a few examples of how we could do that. You could have Sfarim in your house. Fill your house with Jewish Sfarim. I had a congregant who I was at their house for some reason, and they showed me their display in their living room. It wasn't Sfarim, it was guns. They showed me their whole gun collection. Okay, so that's one way to go, but really we want to have model for our children, mitzvot, Sfarim. The more they see that, some call this your self-esteem. You want to build your self-esteem. Have a good shelf of Sfarim to show off to others. Do you like that one? Somebody? You like that? Okay, you can use that. Other things are, you can model learning for your children or your grandchildren. They see you learning, they see you listening to a shiur, they see you listening to Jewish music. That makes them understand that these are things that are important. Pictures on the walls. We can have all beautiful art, but some Jewish stuff as well to send a message that this is what's important. Bringing in guests, mezuzahs on all the doors, Jewish music, Judaica. These are all examples of bringing Hashem into our home. It's really about setting a good example, not just out on the outside, on the inside. So really, these three interpretations span all aspects of life. The outside world, beautifying God, our own lives, which is the idea of anivahu, being like Hashem, and the last one is our homes, bringing it all the way into our homes, Rav Hirsch's explanation. So if we really want to make Hashem our own God, these are three ways to go about doing it. So maybe we succeed in doing so.